Greetings! Hello, travelers of the stars. I am Mark, and this is Tomes of Awesome. Specifically, this is actually the game Doom. But before we go any further, please, if you like my content, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Click the bell notification to get updates whenever I upload new information. I'm trying to do so more regularly now. And feel free to share these videos on your favorite social media website. Now, getting to the meat of this. You may be asking yourself, but Marek, this game isn't exactly unknown, okay? Plus, if, depending on when you're watching this, you already uploaded that video of the snap map you did, the Trials of Daenerys, which kind of makes sense, but this doesn't exactly fall into the falling between the cracks category. Well, that is true. However, the reason I wish to play a video of a new campaign of this, is because I see the 4K update, and I can't remember if back in April it was still the 4K update or if it said 3K update at that point, so they may have improved the graphics or something. And B, 90% of people on Earth actually get the wrong plotline of Doom. They don't know the timeline, and that is kind of ridiculous to me. So let's go into this. Yeah, I already beat the game once before on easy difficulty. I'm gonna go for this slot here. Settings. Video. Good. Audio. Good. Okay. Yeah, let's go for middle of the road there, and yeah, once again, absolutely bring it on. Though I will tell people I am not good at aiming in games like this, but one of the reasons I like this game so much, especially this version, is that quite bluntly they reward you for your OCD tendencies to need to find all the stuff. It's kind of amazing. I like that very much. So let's begin this, and I will obviously, as per usual, talk as we play, describing a few things you might not know. So cool.
They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear until it is done.
Now, remember that symbol. It's very important. In fact, it's important and key to the entire Doom series. As is the fact that we are chained to a stone sarcophagus of sorts. Holy shit, I'm better than I thought I was. And we begin. Jumping with X, R2 for firing. Oh, there you go. L2 for strafing and aiming, something I need desperately. And let's take our first look here. This is a runic sarcophagus, as classic, with runes across it, and more importantly, an embedded figure of a man sunken into the stone, a rock within the rock, quite literally. Also, for those who saw, the runes were actually embedded on like his hands. It's very interesting that I point that out. Will make total sense in a moment, trust me. There's the sarcophagus completed.
We have to contain this.
And since I came out of that, we can assume that she meant contain me. Now, for the record, ignoring all this wonderful gore, here is what appears to be the other half of the sarcophagus. with an equal embedding in, and if we look close, there is a, I don't want to get too close yet, there is a symbol on his helmet, and the symbol is the same symbol that was on his hands and what flashed in front of us. Pay attention to all visions, memories, the whole enchilada. Oh, there. Now you can actually, like, clearly see the symbol right there. It's the same symbol that was on your hands. It was the same symbol that flashed in front of our eyes. I believe it is, quite literally, your personal demon rune, if you will. The mark of the crest of you. Now, we were entombed for God knows how long. And we've just woken up to all hell once more breaking loose.
Cannot determine the cause of the demonic invasion until the Resop satellite is brought back online.
Also, let me give a shout out to Markiplier. He did a full playthrough of this game
Welcome.
a year or two
I'm
ago.
Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility.
And one thing that no one ever gives Markiplier proper credit for is the fact that he does really good descriptions of this. He actually talks about what's going on behind the scenes. And Praetor suit. I'll give you a few moments to read these. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, that suit was literally made to react to you and you alone. There we go. And then this is just your standard gun. Yep, Praetor suit tokens. I already know how to do all of these things. Auto map. I like the auto map in this game. It gives us so much more color than we've seen, and more detail and depth and things. Although in other ways, it's exactly similar to the original 1991-1992 Doom games, but it does add something. Now, because this is Tomes of Awesome, here once again you can see the embedded armor, just embedded in the other half. Ideally, those two were placed together in the shell, meaning we were sealed. Olivia Pierce, as you'll find out her name later, said, "We need to contain this. Contain me. It could ruin everything." Oh yeah. Love these specialized kills. Boom. And also, depending on where you hit them, different maneuvers. And they're also different for each type of monster. You can get challenges, regain points and things like that for doing number of challenges, different types of kills, and so on and so forth, and the like. And the only reason I'm going through to this, again, the possessed, that's what they're called. You might call them zombies, but it's not zombies. They're actually possessed because they're possessed by the essence of evil, which we will get into more in future videos. However, the reason of this that I want to point out is this is Doom Guy. And Doom Guy, he is the hero from Doom 1 and 2. This is not a remake. This is a sequel. There are no remakes in Doom. Doom 3, a lot of people think was like a remake of Doom. It wasn't. It was a sequel. The problem is that most people think... Oh, that was satisfying. Most people think that Doom ended with Doom 2. It didn't. And God forgive me for saying this, but to reference that piece of shit awful Doom movie starring The Rock, which was just really, really awful. Even they, however, got the point across that arc travel is not a new thing. Not at all. In the Doom movie, they mention that there is more than one location to teleport to. They ask where they're going, and they say Olduvai, and that's the place on Mars. Meaning that they could travel to other locations. In Doom 2, near the end of the game, Doom 2, Hell on Earth, it is revealed that the last of the humans on Earth, not the last of the humans period, the last of the humans on Earth are trying to escape in a rocket ship. When you finally get to the rocket ship at the end, you find a whole series of Commander Keen dolls, representative of people who put a hangman's noose around their neck and killed themselves because the entire rocket silo was just loaded with monsters and they were never going to escape and they didn't want to, like, suffer a fate worse than death. Literally in this universe. However, it is important to note that that, by definition, was the last of the humans on Earth, meaning the others already escaped. They went off and they colonized other worlds. Even the shitty-ass Doom movie pointed that out. They said that they escaped to Earth from Mars because of this, well, they called it a genetic infection, basically, that they tried to bioengineer themselves based on the will of a human being's soul. It could either make you superhuman or turn you into a monster. Which is a really shitty content idea for something as awesome as this series is literally supposed to be. However, it does once again reinforce the idea that humans started one place and then came to another, which is in fact actually the timeline of Doom. Now, that being said, assume a good 200 years, 400 years to re-get your infrastructure and your buildings and all that kind of stuff set up, right? You need to rebuild cities, you need to rebuild civilizations, set up colonization and farming things, you know, and you need to be able to feed sustainably the people, that kind of thing. So imagine 200 years, give or take. What is this last fucking demon? There's more of them, okay. Imagine like 200 years after Doom 2, okay? We've once again rebuilt spaceships, we now have a sustainable culture, and when Doom 3 comes online, it basically says that we have the ability to colonize multiple planets with things like the Hydrocom that takes iron oxide, I forget the exact mineral number, otherwise I would totally give that too, and turn into both starship fuel and fresh water. The very existence of technology like that indicates that the human race has come that far. Also, however, more disturbingly, it says that they have forgotten everything that happened on Earth that was, or that happened on Earth before. Apparently, they must have gone back and rediscovered Earth. Now, if you actually think about that, like Battlefield Earth with John Travolta and stuff, the interesting idea is they come back to Earth, right? And people are like, well, why did they name it the UOC? And I go, exactly. They name it the UOC because it's a corporate
responsibility for the
Now, listen to what he
events
says.
of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
Yes! Love that music. However, it was all worth the risk, I assure you. Our interest in their world was for the betterment of mankind. Now, if you want to go into more detail on this right from the beginning, Markiplier goes on about, once again, the demons regenerate that life force, which is known as, we here call it Argent energy, but in reality, it's Denurian energy, which goes back to the well of Denur that I mentioned on my SnapMap video. Whee! No damage whatsoever. Argent energy, in theory, is exactly as it sounds. Argent energy, in theory, yeah, regenerates these guys. It keeps them going, and as a kind of energy source, it could potentially be used as a battery. Now, going back to our whole they came back to Earth thing, right? You relocate Earth, okay? You refind it. You send a team out to, you know, see it. The planet's trashed, right? Sort of like in Battlefield Earth. And you find statues all over the place, and posters and pamphlets for something called the United Aerospace Corporation. Well, partially in order to go ahead and make a shit ton of money, and partially because you're like, this is a fantastic PR stunt, you go and change whatever your mega corporation is. Right now, we would probably call it Disney, because they just bought out they now own both Marvel and DC, which means they're fighting each other in the comic book cinema war, but we won't go there. So Disney renames itself the United Aerospace Corporation in order, I'll let you have a moment here, pause the video if you want to read that. It also scrolls down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, they renamed themselves the United Aerospace Corporation after the United Aerospace Corporation that used to be located on planet Earth. They figure, of course, this will reconnect them to their ancient past, as well as being a really nice PR stunt, which is why in Doom 3, everything is relabeled the United Aerospace Corporation, even though it is at a minimum, what, 400 years later? They left Earth, they had to recolonize everything, and they came back after they had rediscovered Earth. Earth was doomed when the demons took it over. And if you need any more further proof, at the very end of Doom 3, we get to see the hieroglyphics. And the file that mentions it was there all along, the pictures on the hieroglyphs. This is what happened to Earth that was before. It happened before and we didn't listen to the signs. The teleportation experiment. Used in the Alpha Complex by the top secret military group. It was done on Earth before, and in the middle of that travel with interdimensional travel and teleportation as a way for securing more long-distance travel across their empire, the demons had showed up. You even see Doom Guy's sarcophagus at the end of Doom 3 in the archaeological dig site number 2. However, that might actually be just a little bit of a mistake, seeing as in the story here, it's mentioned that it was sealed away deep within the depths of hell. However, in Doom 3, you actually do get references to a bunch of scientists who went into hell and stuff as well. So that might actually file in with the story of the failed mission to hell that ended up recovering the Doom Guy's body. So maybe Hayden was one of those scientists, or maybe that just happened later, and Doom 3 had like the first invasion, then everyone left, right? You play Marine in Doom 3, but you don't play Doom Guy. You play a Marine, and you stop all of hell from taking over Earth again, okay? And then obviously you tell some people, and some military guys are like, you know what, keep this quiet, we don't want people to panic. If you played the extension Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, which was the second half of Doom 3, I did indeed play it, might I add. Hell yeah. If you own the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 or Steam version of Doom 3, the BFG edition, that actually comes standard along with the original game, which I also own on PS3. It's a very, very good game. You play a scientist that time, not a Marine. However, once again, we get treated to a bunch of more interesting information, including the fact that they know, the military knows, something happened on Earth. Right, not on Earth, on Mars. They know something happened at the Mars facility, and you actually go back into a Mars that is now trashed from the events of Doom 3, aka the Teleportation Project 2.0, or Let's Do It All Over Again, a remake of the teleportation experiment, not a remake of the game. at which point you will also ultimately end up fighting Dr. Betruger, who was the non-fightable boss at the end of Doom 3. However, there also is a PDA hidden in Doom 3. I can't remember exactly where, but if you find it, it is actually written by the demons themselves. They mention that all blood for human sacrifices and dimensional portals has to be at least no more than 4 hours old or something like that. But it also says that once again the prophesied time has come when we shall be free. And I was, oh yeah, there we go, L1. I was not paying attention at all when they listed the description. Budding used for the grenades. They mention the time for prophecy has come again. Therefore, we have been free before and will be free again. That also, once again, reestablishes the fact that Doom 3 is not a remake, but a sequel. Anywhere from, I mean, it'd be pushing it to say 200 years, especially since they forgot about Earth and what happened there. So let's say 400 max. A hard 400 years where they were doing farming and all of that kind of stuff, and as a result, you were more focused on your crops than the sad stories of the Exodus days. Most of which probably didn't know, most people of which probably didn't know anything about what really happened, except for the fact that everyone seemed to go crazy, and they had to leave the planet. Most people probably didn't actually know about undead or zombies or monsters, because if you did know about those things, you probably remained on the planet and never left. However, in originally looking up the incidents on Earth, when the corporation that would be the new UAC remastered came to Earth and would have like rediscovered our homeland, it also, by definition, they would have found the bodies. They would have found bodies everywhere. And maybe they would have claimed, you know, madness or disease or something. But the fact that they even have a comment there where they're like, it explains so much, all the evidence was all there all along, that is an indication that they knew something happened on Earth. They did. They knew something happened on Earth. They knew it. How do we get there? Interesting. Okay. They knew something happened on Earth, and they just couldn't answer it before. Okay? That's the key point there. That they knew something happened on Earth, and they just, for whatever reason, couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out what it was that happened. They didn't know what had happened. They didn't. But they wanted to find out very badly. And when they finally got the hieroglyphic scrolls, obviously that told them everything they needed to know. But they didn't listen until it was too late. The teleportation experiment reactivated, and when it did, that sweet spot in between, as they say in Doom 3, the teleportation should have been instantaneous, except it wasn't. In reviewing the tapes, they discovered that clearly someone or something was watching them. And that curiosity is what ultimately began leading to the teleportation experiments in the Alpha section, which would then, of course, later go on to end up doing all kinds of demonic stuff first. Yes, I know. That's right. I want the charge burst to start with, because I think I want the charge burst. I can't remember which one I used to go with. Yeah, I know all about secrets. Okay, got that. Yep. Possessed soldier, go ahead, read that. Cool. Anytime I say read this, cool, I'm inviting you to go ahead and pause the video to check it out on yourself. The problem is there's a shit ton, an absolute shit ton of things to look at here. We will go into that when I actually have information to do. Hold the weapon to charge a burst. Let's see. You see, you don't want to read these. Ultimately, what you want to read is the bottom one. Okay, cool. We might have wanted the other one. I think I may have selected the wrong one by accident. Oh well, doesn't matter. Too late. Let's keep going! So basically, the humans would have known about this. They covered this shit up because they wanted the financial success of recreating Earth, our original homeland. It's like science and real estate and cultural restoration all at once, okay? That's the whole big thing. It's cultural restoration all at once. And as a result, it's a perfect situation. A perfect situation for everything to get out of control all over again, just like it did before. Yes, this game is very, very difficult. And as a result, that is why Doom 3 is a sequel, not a remake. And the sarcophagus, the original Doom guy from Doom 1 and Doom 2, is actually who we are playing. Now, I've about ran out of time, so I'm gonna say, if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Share this on your favorite social media again. Click the bell notification to get notified whenever I update and upload new content. I'm trying to do so more often regularly. And I will see you guys later with a second video.